Hi, everybody. We're back again with another episode of Red, Wine, and Brown, Live. And today, Shreya's missing. So it's just Michael and me. And we're going to review for you four content titles. And it's going to be a series called Hush Hush. It's a Hindi series that is streaming on Prime Video. Then we will also review for you a movie called Bubbly Bouncer, Madhur Bhandarkar's new movie after a long gap. It is streaming on Hulu, Hotstar on Hulu. And then we will review for you two movies that released in the theaters this last week. One was Chup, Revenge of the Artist, and the other one was Doka, Around the Corner. So let's all get started with Hush Hush on Prime Video. Michael, what you got for us?
Yeah, so love to talk about Hush Hush. We actually got a couple thrillers on here for you guys this week, and Hush Hush is the first of those. So Hush Hush was a series that came out, and it's about the story about four girls. They're all friends with each other, and essentially it's this series where it tells the story in reverse. So one of their friends ends up committing suicide, and the whole show is told in reverse order from the time she kills herself, kind of leading up, each episode's like going back in time, showing more and more events that kind of tell you this more complete story of what happened. And meanwhile, there is a dedicated cop who is very, very, dedicated to solve the case. Things get a little messy after their friend kills himself because this guy who was suspected of abusing their friend also was murdered, and so now these three friends are actually suspects. So it's this really messy murder case topped on with a suicide case, and really the show kind of brings you a lot of different plot twists, also show you the lives of all these friends and everything like that. And so I had an okay time watching this. There were some great acting performances that I will get into a little bit later, but as I was saying in the beginning, like, this is a show that was telling it in the reverse order, and that's something that needs to be done really, really, really well. And there were a lot of times in which I felt this show did not have a lot of momentum moving forward in a lot of its things, because a lot of big action, such as I think it was Ishi, the girl who actually committed suicide, happened episode 1, and then like in the next episode, this guy dies, but then there's not a whole lot of like following up on the guy. He's not really in any of the episodes to provide any context as well. And it's really just kind of looking into the the 4 lives of the friends, and just kind of how, like, the inner demons that they're working with. So as much as a thriller, I'm not sure, maybe more of a mystery. But that's kind of what I have in terms of like the 30,000 feet. Like I did say, though, there were a lot of great performances in this, namely Karishma Tana, who played one of the 4 friends. She actually was able to like get on there and like really perform like some emotional roles. Like, it's very tough for an actor and actress to like get on there and cry, but the way she was able to do that and like bring her character in the depth was like, it was very, very professional. It was just like a great performance. It wasn't cheesy at all. Some others.
Didn't the show remind you of Pretty Little Liars?
Yeah,
I don't know if you watched that Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman show, but I think it had 1 season, and I absolutely loved it because it was kind of a whodunit as well, amongst a group of really close friends who really know who has murdered this person, but they keep it amongst themselves, and the cops investigating just can't get through to them because they really are a tight group. And of course, this is a take on, this is kind of the same kind of a plot, where it's an investigative thriller, and this lobbyist Ishi Sengupta, which is played by former supermodel Miss India and a very famous actress called Juhi Chawla. She dies, and then there are a lot of mystery, secrets, and of course a murder investigation. And then she has her 3 closest friends who actually become, kind of the can of worms, not only in her life, but also in their own respective lives.
In their own respective lives, they were all like, I'm not gonna say deranged, because that'd be like way too extreme, but they all were like kind of they all had their own problems. They all had their own things going on behind the scenes. And so whenever you would see them together, like it would kind of explain for maybe some of the behaviors or some of the ways they were acting. One thing I really kind of wanted to see more of this show though was them kind of bring the entire ensemble together for some really good scenes, because like after the first couple of episodes, it really kind of was like these deep dives into like them individually, and when they were all together, it just didn't really seem like now that the audience knew like a little bit on the psyche behind these characters, it didn't really seem like they were an ensemble anymore. It was just like three people that were dealing with some stuff, interacting together. There were the camaraderie that's supposed to come with like that friend group just wasn't really there in the later episodes. So to me, it was just losing a little bit of
I
interest.
also want to point out to our listeners and viewers that this is, of course, Aisha Julka's web debut as well. Aisha Julka, again, an erstwhile very big star from the 90s. And this is her comeback to screen as well. Apart from her, the other actresses are Soha Ali Khan, who, as we said, had a really great performance, and Kriti Kamra, who is the rich woman whose mother-in-law is highly overpowering, literally runs her life. And then, of course, Karishma Tanna, who plays Neeta Tehlan, the Haryana police officer who's assigned to this murder case, and she actually is pretty splendid in her role. I have to also point out to our listeners and viewers that there were some really good dialogues in the show, written by Juhi Chaturvedi. And of course, writers Shikha Sharma and Ashish Mehta have actually shaped an interesting plot and a decent narrative based on, privilege that some people have.
It was a
Right?
very good like put together like women based crew. I don't think there were very many men that were on this, and like it's something that you don't really see a whole lot either. It was very well put together, and I mean, I think in that aspect things were well done, and at the same time, like it was renewed for another season, so season 2 will be coming
Come
out.
in, definitely.
And
But you know what I found the most compelling part of Hush Hush, Michael, was the fact that all the female cast did well, and the story and the plot does justice to each of those women and their roles, and it doesn't downplay anything. It's a good watch. You can binge it.
they weren't
But
tokenized in any way like we may see in other movies where someone might just be placed, and because we've seen this a lot in our last couple of weeks where there's this female love interest and there's really no depth to the character. They don't. I
absolutely,
don't think
and I
all
have
the
to I have to
characters
give
are
it give it to the creator Tanuja Chandra, who's written many women-oriented scripts before. Tanuja Chandra has literally made a worthy attempt in bringing out the nuances of how women get together to rise above, together in a male-dominated society. I think Hush Hush is a good testimony to her expertise in doing that.
And we're back on